ma ba wo kan so na je ba dam je ko gar da zon da nga je lo yang do je gum re ba ra jar je ngo da la de ta zhi je da da je de zil je dun je nam ga ra je ba ra en ju je la ma ga zhe zo na je me da la do je 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 se de da da gam zum zem je na sem lo ma de je nga do na de se ne zhu be na wa ran ja ma zhu zhu ju be zem je la bu ra re do be na ju ren e xian ka zhi ne zo zhi be ji pa la ma je 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 ju ne lu nga ye da nyo me ne ba den te zam go be de la ba le ja wa de je da la ju ne re zhe nyam ge xin de ro da ra xin de ne zhu ba yi je la ma ga zhe zo nam je me da ge go zom je je lo me da ge go zom je je lo me da ge go zom je je lo la zo ine sang ma la sam je da ji de le xue na nin cham je do nga zo la yang Ngöndro ji de da de le ba re
I'm extending my greetings to everyone, and now we are doing Ngöndro practice class again.
ni Ngöndro ji ni da Lhundrup sai de ni hindu za na lung gu zhu de nyam do sa lo na shu yi
Exhaling the still breath. Please follow me in doing the ninefold exhalation of the still breath. la so ta de je la la ma la so la da be da ni je la mo zhu xue de yin de dia de nyam do song ro na shu yi So following is the
supplication to gurus, lamas, and as well as soliciting blessings or cities from Guru Lama.
Balde Zawe Lama Rembo Dagi Juro Beme Den Lash Garden Chembe Gone Jesu Gozon Doye Ngöndro Zal Dozu Dizum Sanje Dam Jeje Ngo Lama Rembo Jeje Dagi Gyu Minjin Cholwara Jinje Labdozul Samlam Je Doba Je Bara Jin Gyula Je Wara Jinje Labdozul Tsedenye La Waza Zoba Jim Namjo Darje Bara Jinje Labdozul Dizum Sanje Dam Jeje Ngo Lama Rembo Jeje Dagi Gyu Minje Cholwara Jinje Labdos Samlam Je Doba Je Bara Je Gyula Je Wara Jinje Labdos Tsedenye La Waza Zoba Jembe Lamjo Darje Jinje Labdos Dizum Sanje Dam Jeje Ngo Lama Rembo Jeje Dagi Gyu Minje Cholwara Jinje Labdos Samlam Je Doba Je Bara Je Gyula Je Wara Jinje Labdos Sedenye La Waza Zoba Jembe Lamjo Darje Jinje Labdos Zoa Debzo Lama Rembo Dongwe Bedu Jinje Jejis Kalme Dala Reza Jele Tuye Yirme Jebara Jinje Lo Jema Dagi Juje Gande Jan Taljuru Dine Shindo Jebara Tune Jizon Nizon Chelanye Kewa Dribe Longo Majung Renje Lingne Donglo Wenyen Kalde Juje Bemba Madun Chine Milu Nyebara Kala Njuru Laso Dajno Ngonzo Korwi Rangshinde Tongal Wayin Badang Nyangale Debe Rangshinde Tongal Tam Je Sebing Wayinza Ngonzo Korole Tarbo Yure Tadi Tabro Cheba La Semju Dulye Mado Tablam Shenji Meba Yundu Ni Semju Dulye Di Tablam De Mela Ni Tambi Chö Sidi Yure Chö Di Sulshin Dun Rugo Yuna Jorwa Ngoshi Che Jirimba Tonin Rugo Du Jorwa Ngöndro Jirimba De Ni Ngazo Tanda Da Komishin Bare De Kola Ni Kale Mutun Shugi
So, generally, samsara is full of suffering, and then nirvana is without suffering. And in order to go beyond the suffering, we need to train our mind. Then the method of taming our mind is called the Buddha Dhamma. And then as for Buddha Dhamma, it has 3 stages: the beginning, so excellent beginning, excellent main body, and excellent conclusions. We are at the point of doing this excellent beginnings, the preliminary practice.
Ninda Ngöndro de la Ani Remba Mangbo Yobare Tumongchi Ngöndro Tumen Nangi Ngöndro Dende Yobi Nane Ta Tanda Ngazo Tumongchi Ngöndro de Komshimba Yundu Niti nang le danda dal jurnya gawa anu komsaware anu semi daba de anu komjimbare ta semi daba de la yang komlo komda mindo mongbo yore ani dana nga zo de nana khaje ju jubje ta dana nga zo ani namji chame sana mindo chejin ngeme sana mindo oda de ko la ani dana nga zo samlo dangi.
Okay, then as for the preliminary practice, there are the preliminary general or the common preliminary practice as well as uncommon preliminary practice. And then within this, we have already covered or studied about the subject matter of the precious human body, the difficulties of finding freedoms and riches, and as well as the impermanence. Within impermanence, we have already covered a certain subject, and now we are at the point of the uncertainty about when to die and how we die. So now we will talk about this, the uncertainty of the death.
Tangaranzo Kuru Semjenje Ine Sungde Ane Kia Sawachela Ane Mashibane Zane Yomare Higire Tiling Higire Samgendea Ane Te Nyong Roje Chagure Higi Yobane Same Hagure Ane Hielane Same Chagure Ine Hie Samlo de Suju Koro Chiga Yomarwa Di ane Zawa de Ngazo ane Takzin Sana Mendo Nga Sakande Zemba de Shuk Che Takzang Ane Chaga Yobarela Ane Nga Soso Tarpa Tamche Kime Gobang Sana Mendo Dewa Yang Tabo Je Topdo Je Lo De Semla Yabo Je Ma Je Ben Li Lemba Rete Yore Dangone Yang Tabo Je Topdo Yona Ane Chewa Meda Bade Ane Samla Dang Gogo Yobares.
So then, as for the beings of this samsaric world, no one has ever lived without needing to die, right? Everyone has died. All people who were born, all beings, whoever were born in this earth, it's all dying or have died. And the problem is that even though we are kind of aware of our death and we are afraid of death, but we are not very concerned about our death. That's the main problem. This is mainly the not being concerned about our death is mainly caused by our attachment towards the self. We are very attached to the idea of self, and at the same time we don't have a proper determination to attain liberations and omniscience. So therefore we are always kind of not concerned about death. But in order to have a proper the concerns about death, then we have to first be aware of the impermanence and practice impermanence. So now we'll talk think about this impermanence.
So tene ngazo kawala shigire kandejinane shigire ken kangla tene ngazo shigo gore de kune ngeba meba yindu o dende jane kola chozane na samodang nang.
So then we are not sure that when we are going to die and how we are going to die. We don't have any clue about it. We don't know what causes will bring our death. We also don't know anything about that. So now please take a moment and contemplate about this point.
나서 나서 미 망보지게 나서는 사진들 시기 아니 되네 정규열에 담 메세 담만 되는 사진들을 늘려진 셈베지 보진 시기에서는 되네 삼개 망보열에 근데 다 가서 레지도 비 사진들 시기 템바즘지 시투보다 마템바즘지 시미도 보다디 그냥 랍두고 말해 아니 시사 사제데 남라 인식이래 추낭라 인식이래 사자강라 요식이래 아니 람가론 롬라 인식이래 다강 아니 땡가라 인식이래 사강라 인식이래 내가 바카야 요 말해 소소 섬전낭신 룹투 뭐도서 근데 때내가 요 말와 가시 삼로 당신 시기냐 요래 가시 큐네 섬뇽 매바 당신 신용 시기냐 요래 당가서 민게 될는데 장지 밀롱바데 통사와래 나 소소야 딘조 나나 그 데다오 가야로 와지 나나 페제베지 드스기로 와 내가 가야 요 말에 딘디 대라 시기레 사제 시사 딘인선 데랑 가서 무슨 제트스 근데 갈라가 보셔라래 어디는 쪽선도 당로나
So then, we human beings on Earth, we at the end of life, I'm going to die in this way. I'm going to die at this specific place. I'm going to die very peacefully. So forth, we might, get to have these kind of wishes, but at the same time, all these wishes are very uncertain to come true, right? Our death might come anywhere in the existential realm. It might be in the space. It might occur in the water. It might occur on Earth. It might occur on the road while we are traveling. It might occur on our bed while we are sitting or sleeping. Anywhere it might take place. We can't be certain about it, or we can't determine anything about our death. It won't happen. Our death won't happen as we wished. Some people, it might happen as as he or she wished, but most people, it might not happen as they wished. So these kind of things we have seen for ourselves in the world, and so at the same time, our death is very uncertain, and we can't, be certain about it at all. We cannot determine anything about it, about it. So please now take a moment and contemplate about these points.
나서 내가 나신도 뒤서 내내질랑아 시기 선생 나서 가야 시도고 말해 네 가야잖아 미카시 종종 많이 만나라네 예 시간 되는 요래 아니 강사 가시 깨마 타도 시간 되는 요래 그저께네 아니 그저 유는 뭐 말면 발라네 시간다 가시 로 종종 집에 두잖아 가시 쉬는 아니 가시 야야다 다르밥나 다리얼다 갱고다 내가 가야면도 가두시고면도서나 뒤네 때내 가요 말해 나저 나로 내가 버도 때 아니 자신 뭐땡 아니 갱고 내내잖아는 시도나 다다래 아니 내내잖아 다 자신 뭐지 땡겨요 땡원나진 로톱 남아도서 근데 내가 가야 매로와 시 뒤들라 땡땡 가요 말해 남라 남네마 토바만 나시 야게 되절라드네 토 가war라 칸데 잡그래서는 내바셔라 요 말와 안 치 뒤즈데 되나신데 미 소부 대우당 도다 민도 어 되는코 로중다 메중 왕당체다 미체 롭중 야다 메야 미상다 미상선다 딜 가야 내바 요 말에 치 뒤를 봐나 되네 수양 네 뒤즈 강나야 시스 그런데 가서 그런 남지 참여서 나면도 지혜기 뒤줄랑 내봐 매발라 섬노다네 그냥 교사 섬노다로나 데메다 먹으로나
Similarly, about the time when we will die, it's also a very uncertain thing. And some people die in mother's womb, and some die, right after taking birth. Some die at a very, a young age as a child. Some die as a teenager. Some die at the age of adult person, and some die as the later, and some die at the older age, and there's no certainty in our the time of dying. Even though we might plan a lot for our life, we might think that or think or plan that I will do this and that, and then around that age I will die, so forth. But our death won't happen as we plan. It's our death is like a thunder in the summer, right? It may come at any time, and it might hit on anything, right? So we cannot be certain about it, and we cannot do anything about it. It may happen to those who with good health, those who are without good health, those who are with power, those who are without power, those with a young age or youth, right? And then those who are older, those who are also have good education, those who do not have good education. So equally to all of these peoples, equally the death may happen at any time. So death is very uncertain in terms of its the happenings. So now please take a moment and think about the uncertainty of the death. Yeah.
laso ta dene ina ani chiwi kende karere namna dene lamishe bare mi mangbo chi nga thangbo yu ndewu yu nga shido kho mare asna dene tengi yu re ni re de kende thangbo yu da meba ndewu yu da meba kala saju yu da meba ani karasa gore lule konju yu da meba dila chabar kaya yu mare kende kaya yu sigire ngaranzo sobo sowa chale jinju mendang ani saya dinzo re de yure tarang ani sadang dang pecho dang dang mashin ne thodu gyurche ani shigaya mangbo shirare ngaranzo sobo mirang wadang kang miyong be tabzo che de koyo re koyo konda mashin ne ani kendra menda che ne ani shigaya yungu yure ta sowa chale je tesa kangba re de yure 양 겐다만도 도제 강바 시발라 소발라 때네 강베진라 되네 시게야 망바 용유래 와드네 소보 당보 연시의 르자자당 다 고주자야 된 소리 된소양 고주잡다 르자자다 마시네 양 가서 그래 소보는 치외견도 줄봐야 뭐뭐 용서기래 다 소외견 된소 상마에 배주당 마시나 네 체제 견로 줄수기래 ninji meje nawa na sawara insana laba ngeba kaya yu mare kashi kema shuru shindo ne shigan yure wa kashi tene ngu shindo shigan yure kashi sa shindo shigan yure kashi kuen shindo shigan kashi ro shindo ta ngeba kaya mendo wa ken kangdang kangla tene shigira sana suchiga labzaya yu mare ko ken kadu tegire ken kangre ode denden meba yindo ta dendela kyosa samla dangro na
Then now think about the conditions, the situations that causes the death of ours, and usually we would think that I'm healthy, I'm powerful, and I might not die. And however, even though we have good conditions as a health and the physical powers, and these condition might also at the same time be the causes for our death at any time. If death is if death comes, right? We might think I have good, food, good clothes, and so forth, and I might not die. But at the same time, these can be, in a way, the cause of our death too. We might think, the medicine is a good thing for us, and it will protect us from getting sick and dying. But sometimes, medicine, without being able to how to take it, then it would cause our death too, right? And then as for the clothes, generally we think clothes will protect us from cold and so forth, but if we are unable to wear it properly, it might causes our death too. It might be the condition of our death, right? And then as our houses, it's generally for us to live to live in and stay warm. But in another situation, house might also be the causes for our death. It might collapse or be destroyed, and then we might die because of that, right? And similarly, doing physical exercise, we think it's a good thing for our health and life. But at the same time, if we are unable to do the exercise properly, it might cause our death too, right? It is not only the sickness and the yes, sickness and the being hurt, pain are the cause of our death. Some might die just being, joyful, or die just with a lot of laughter. Some might die while eating food. Some might die just while crying. So the causes for death, the conditions for death, the specific situation for death, it's very uncertain. We cannot foresee these specific situation, the conditions for our death. Yeah, so no one can see that. So please now take a moment and contemplate on these.
So, any that la Dumba Tabola some de Meta Bokumba second year. The young Sanja Jumden de Kangjela Soba, She Tamjinanda, Cheshodi, Langboje Checho, Cheshores, Dinan, Samlo Tandan, Dushe Tamjin and the Cheshos and Amendo, Yaksho di Midaba Dushi Coimbet and Yaksho in Sanasona Yure.
So then it's teaching about it's called the great aspirations, and the Buddha said that among all the consciousness, the consciousness of the death is the greatest.
Kaisana Midabode Yabo, Samana Mayna, Ninchu Peje Chega Drup Simba Doja Yure. Mama Dene Lama Kashi Jikari Sungre said, Chu Ngöndro Wejang, Chikasa Chu Ngoshi Wejang, Ngöndro Saab Sungure. And Ngoshi La Kachumbo Shuji Zego Yure, the Ngoshi Ting Yaboji, Kasa Ngoshi Pitabo Yaboji Yongo Yuna. Ngöndro de Yabo Jundrup to Baji Gugure. Ngöndro Yabo Drup na Mandrup de Medak Baji Lo de Jule Yabo Jeda Majeba. Medak Jeda Majese de Medabokola Samlo Tang da Madanjibu Mare. Samlo Tang ne, Tenengone Namje Chame Chejing Emma de la Tene, Semla Yabo Jula Jeto Baji Gugure. Tangone Hasani Lesar Laksamar Hakumindu Samloji. Nadana 고마점는 로그 여데 팔 도사사전 레게 여르다 여말 소저 태좀지 니냐와 이나야 선이 쇼바 랑게 여르다 토그레 두고 말선 태좀지 데네지가라 줄라 야보지 깨토바지 내 까보 매바데 양 템보라 메로와 균도 여바지 고구도 어데네라 조선 삼노다로나.
Okay. In the teaching, it is said that if we have good understandings or the practice of the impermanence, then the half of Dharma practice is done. And earlier the masters or the teachers said that the preliminary practices are more profound than the man-body practice. And in order to do a good man-body practice or our man-body practice go well, then we have to have a very well-grounded the preliminary practice. And then as for the preliminary practice, the impermanent is the most important, and it's as an essence of the preliminary practice. Whether the preliminary practice has been well or not, it depends on the depends on the practice of the impermanence. Then about the impermanence, it's not enough just to think that all the phenomena are impermanent. We have to gain this certainty that all things are changing from moment to moment. We have to have this very concrete consciousness or awareness that we are all the things, including ourselves, are changing from moment to moment. Even though we are walking, we have to feel or be aware that we are not very certain, where we are, getting while we are walking, right? When we are sleeping, we have to have this, awareness that, even if we're sleeping, we might not be able to get up, the next day. So that kind of, certainty about impermanence, we, should gain, right? So now please take a moment and contemplate on this point of the impermanence.
Midao bao gomgen kanero ju gore se de kara komjong nangshin go yure kara komjong segen ye lama de tangom ngomar rirula tuba nyamnen che du ene chulanga pepe da chabzang peparo la pepe da dene lamga la ene tserma jinji xingdong je yobare ene pa pep du gabla yang tserma sogu yure sola pep du lo pep du tserma sogu yure ane tserma du tubro che de gozan kong kare tende ne tanda tserma tubga re che na tubsawe che la nga sombol hage yore da yomare sui hago tubure yang lo lebdi goza kange yore da yang sombol hage yore da yomare sui hago re tende kaya mindo ane tende jene kong tserma tube kyunu mara re lo da lo do ne ane karo komjo chuba tomne dene topsong rwa tende nangshen che ane kogo yore nga zo dene nga sa chilo la tangi yore da nana ngube ki kogabar hage yore da yomare tendenshana yo mare. O nangla ngubu yore de chelo la tanya goga ragi yore da yo mare. Tiang go tsuk marawa. Gomba chikpo yore de shenpa de poya goga ragi re da ragi mare. Ngeba kaya me bare. O tende la ni ngeba nye baji. Tende la ni samdini yishe yo baji. O tende ji gogu yore. Tende rao jun gyoksan samlo daro na.
So then, how should we practice impermanence, and what kind of practitioner we should, be practicing impermanence? Then, there was the practitioner back in the days, and he's by the name of Karagomchung. He was the great example of the yogi who practiced impermanence. While he was staying on the mountain at retreat, then from time to time he had to go to fetch waters, or go out to to go peeing, so forth, right? But then at the at the gate of the cave, there was a thorn bush, and always bothering him entering and getting out of the caves. But sometimes he get to think for himself that he might need to cut the thorn bush. But then at the same time, when he think about this cutting of the trees, he at the same time he get to think about he is think about impermanence, and then he thought of whether he himself being able to live after cutting the tree, jumps in, and then he never got to cut the trees at all. And just like that, many years passed, and at the end, the practitioners, Karagomchung, he attained enlightenment. And so this is a great example of practicing impermanence, being very aware of the impermanence and putting it into concrete practice, right? So just like that, we have to think about impermanence in the way that if we take our breath in, we might not be able to to kind of exhale our breath again. If we take one step, we might not be able to take the second step, so forth. If we are able to think in this way or practice impermanence this way, then it is very good. And so therefore, for the genuine practice of the impermanence, we have to have this kind of certainty about the impermanent nature of the phenomenon. We have to have also this dedication to practice impermanence of every moment. All right. So this is very important. And now please take some moment and contemplate about these points.
So Nintine Medaba de Congo Jumzen de Semla Kange Triada Semla Tubunyan Chedo Denamare Medabare Semla Kange Tubunyang Dena Yang Soso Tubun Kange Harore Medabo Kon Ne and Kariche Gore Sidu and Choi Yang Dabajin Rugo Yure Tawa Tempo Minuta Lulutan and Risamare Teaching Sem Dulia Tablam Jit and Godo Tablam Medaba Chibu Mamba Tablam Shama Yure Medaba the Ngöndro Indu Ngöndro la tene ngwe shi ji din zhe che go yure de yin de dangbo me da ba de chu la kulma che ji chu chi ge yure par de chu ngwe shi yang da bon zhe la ne zhou chi ge yure ta ma zo be san je go bang to be de ne ken de sang ma me da ba ji che ge yo zang ne me da ba de yang ne yang do ne ko go yure.
So then the reason for practicing impermanence is that, it is not for, kind of thinking about, sad event in life or, depressing ourselves, right? Thinking about unpleasant things, the impermanent nature of the phenomena, and then being unhappy about it. That's not the point. The point is through impermanence, we have to, be able to practice Dharma properly. The impermanence is the method for, training ourselves in Dharma practice, or the training ourselves in the, mind training practice, right? Impermanence is the practice of the preliminary dharmas. And the preliminary dharma is the basis for the man-body practice. In order to, have a proper man-body dharma practice, then we have to have a good and genuine the preliminary practice, and the preliminary practice is the support for the Dharma practice on the whole, and it's the causes of making a good man body practice, as well as is the conditions for the excellent dedication practice. So therefore, it is needed to be practiced at all time. The impermanence is we need to practice it at all time, all different stage of the Dharma practice. So now please take a moment and contemplate on these points.
Laso ne anda na jindo me da ba kom go be jumzen chen ba ya ngarang zo che da roa re ro sem je sama so zon dewa do go yo ba da tungal me do ba me ba re so zon ne dewa do go yo na me da ba kom go yo re da 내가 ji dewa chung da dewa ne yun thong dong den de zamjide döba yoba che tenji dewa yang da ba je do mena ani me da ma gom na yang ko che bar ke yo mare ne se de ji chung sa da sibi dewa chung sa de ne top to yure tab chan da shen de zo ji ne me da ba yang da ba ju kon ba ina che nal ma ji che to gure che nal ma ji cha ba ina 내가 쭉 긴 대화 되는 말에 유로하면 봐 아니 가서 그러 다른 고방도 토비지니 규다 견 초지유도 아니 메다바데 소종원에 대화 토도 연나 메다바데 인지민이 공부고 유래
Sorry, the Khenpo continued. I made a mistake. And the other reason for needing to practice impermanence is that all beings, in this world are the one who needs, happiness and who does not need, the sufferings. We all desire happiness but do not want, sufferings, right? But if we are just desiring only temporary happiness and not desiring for the great everlasting happiness, then we don't really need to practice impermanence that much. Other means in life might fulfill our our desires, these small desires or the worldly desires. But however, as long as we desire for the great, the everlasting happiness, then we have to depend on the practice of the impermanence, and then practice of the impermanence brings the or makes our Dharma practice genuine and perfect and complete. And it will, make us attain the great, the everlasting happiness, right? So, therefore, the practice of the impermanence is very important. And now, please contemplate about these points.
네. 제상 나고만 유튜브도 레진 남지 제수 흉도 여바나 산여고만 톰도 여나 년제 신도 메다바 양내 양도 아니 메다바 단다 튼송하나 진 따다 저거ben 해봐 여 말에 엔 두저두저로 메다바레 네 두제 담자랑신 때뭐 가야면도 녀마지 때내 시고 그래 가두시나 하고서 말에 와데네 걸어 쪼쪼선 템바소에서 아니 양내 양도 겁나 안 되게 저기 그래.
So if we want to follow the footsteps of the great yogis of the past, then we have to practice impermanence. But having said that, we don't really have to, think about impermanence, 24/7 or, at all time without any break. That's not the case, how it goes, right? We can, from time to time, over a day, for several times, we have to, remind ourselves that everything is impermanent. All the compounded things are, changing from moment to moment. All are transient and fleeting from moment to moment. And nothing lived without needing to die. Everything, perished after taking birth, right? So we have to remind ourselves in this way over the days, from a few times, and that will be also very, very helpful. So, yeah. So in that way, it's always good to remind ourselves the impermanence, concept of the impermanence.
나서 다 드링데 삼주적이 뭐 아무런 냠동소로나
Please follow me in doing the dedication and prayers.
제열바 제베 길고로 대제 상아 제베 개와 되순나 잠베 개조 군도 라메 장조 닝보로 와라인지 소난데 다에 로군 제나상 바라제 군시 렘네 람제 드바 다르제 페만 잘베 고만 요로도 조 자게람 제람 네라주 예담 간로 레다 집제 제뇨 좀베 바라제 군살라 초등 저 드베 다시조
Om Om Bajrang Guru Bema Zede Om Mije De Le Chembe Ye Jene Wazalanyo Menga Ye Dame Songju Wang Be Ju Darang Navi Rajin Jo Be Jin Jo Be Ma Chönyi ngo som cha se de le lo nyam nang go chal me gang jen bu re ba ze be ba wo zhang ge zu chu se lo de do je lo karan yur de wu ne me go bo da ye ni je de re jen jang na be mo na ko sum go de je me do den za gang do zhu be zen jo de la zo zen dang go ye nam ro da le be nyu zhu zha jen be de za der da shen ga nyam ye je ja zo go Zene be ma dang do je wara shu de ya re zen nam je zen lam la de ne go da ye je ja zo mo zo je la me go ba nyur do rang je de ni lun je ro ba ra shu de me je da yer me be ma jo ra na da san do ba re je na re yer me ma ju nyu me nga de ne nam da jin do je wa ra jo Kang do je be je wa dam je do re yun de dun de do ba ra je ma da do je da je ju re ne zo je je be ra wa ye ba ra chun do ne ne nyum bo dun dum de se de se be ja zo ngal se ba dam be je ra de je she be je bla de ngal me ba Lab je jin du cho re me bai tam je jam je san je do ba ra ju la so hun to ji che en sa ma ko zo do je na ro na na je ma ja yong
Please take care. See you next week.